let's do it. All right, so we have Mareya Ibrahim Jones. Many
It's a mouthful.
syllables, many syllables.
Yes.
Here, I have been super pumped to have you on here because we like to analyze sort of the business behind the brand. But the reality is, most businesses don't have a brand,
Mm.
and you're different.
hmm
And I think that's an often underlooked piece of businesses um,
Yeah.
because it's a whole art and science. So if you don't mind, let's start from there. Hop into like teach everybody who you are, where you've been, and please brag. Because actually, another funny pattern: most successful business people should be out there teaching and almost bragging, but because it comes off as bragging, they don't say it. And then
hmm
it robs the students of actually learning what it actually takes in the real patterns of successful businesses. So
Mm.
please,
Mm.
let's
All right.
let's kick it off.
Well, I'll share. Um, Mareya Ibrahim Jones, I am a 30 plus year veteran of the health and wellness industry, touching many different aspects of it, from natural foods in the grocery and CPG world to actually chefing and cooking to holistic nutrition and ultimately bringing those all together in different formats from writing to producing to food production and food styling to oh gosh you name it, creating products, patenting and marketing them. So I've really touched all different aspects of the world of health and wellness, and I say health and wellness over food because it really is more of a holistic look at the role that food plays and how we, marry that with other aspects of wellness in our life to live a full, joyful existence. And, coming full circle now into this kind of time of my life, it really has become so apparent that it is not one thing. That if we don't have all the pillars of health, and to me, those pillars are food, fitness, faith, family and friends, and focus, that we really are missing something. And you can't really hold up that four-legged or five-legged table in
Mhm.
this case without one of those. So that's really where I love to come from in terms of teaching people. And I just want to say it's never too late to start. I really started my entrepreneurial journey in my late 40s.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's wild. And you're saying that you've also been on this 30-year journey. So I find that duration in business and in life of any given domain is just that's the X factor. How long can you stay in the game, right? Because even if you are super smart, but you keep on changing games, you almost have to restart over every time. So it sounds to me like your story is a story of building on the prior sum total, so you get this compounding effect. Is that a fair summary?
That is, with some lateral movement, I
Okay.
think you can say, all the while touching food
Mm,
and and wellness and sustainability, honoring the environment in some way, shape, or form. So I'll give you an example. I started my career in natural grocery. So I started working for a chain of natural food stores in Boulder, Colorado. Boulder was
yeah.
and still is the
I was gonna say
epicenter of
still is.
natural
Yep.
foods. I, worked for a chain called Alfalfa's Markets. They came before Whole Foods, started in the 70s by really, ex hippies.
Yeah.
And, but they helped to evolve the industry and really reflect the type of shopping that you would experience in Europe, for example.
Mm,
Going to a farmer's market where you would find fresh produce and you'd find the story of where the produce came from, local purveyors, you know, uh, butchers and or in our food, excuse me, in our meat and seafood department, you would find, again, purveyors that had a story of sustainability and wild caught seafood and,
mhm.
grass fed meat. So all of this started a long time ago. It's just they had a smaller footprint than what you see now in the industry. But working with them, I took on the role of helping to bring those different companies' stories to life. We would do in-store cooking demonstrations
Yeah.
every single day at noon and at 5, so you could come in and watch how to cook that quinoa,
Mhm.
or take that wild caught mahi mahi that was on sale and pull that together into a meal with the fresh produce that was on special. So we were really about what the CEO of the company termed as edutainment,
Love it. Love it.
educating and entertaining at the same time. So we picked these fun personalities to do these cooking demos in all the stores, and I ran that program. I also evolved into being the editor of our monthly tabloid magazine. So we, did this beautiful food styling and recipe development and interviews with local purveyors and companies. So it really, like, I cut my teeth in a lot of different aspects of food, sustainability, wellness, because wellness is intrinsically tied
Mhm.
into food when you do it right, and telling the story
Mhm.
of these different brands.
So, how if somebody was listening to this and saying, "Okay, how do I piece together a a reasonably healthy diet that's not crazy?" Probably some of the stuff that you and I have done from a
Yeah,
fitness competition standpoint, which I hope we can hop into at some point.
yeah.
Um, for the average listener, what would you say is a good template?
The best template that's unilateral is good quality, sustainable protein, because protein is the longevity,
Yeah.
feeder
Mhm.
of muscle. If you don't retain muscle mass throughout your life, it really puts you at risk of injury,
Mhm.
and injury becomes really potentially fatal
Mhm.
as we get older, and bone density becomes more problematic. And then coupling that with all the colors of the rainbow. So you're getting the purples and the greens and the blues and the reds and yellows from fresh produce. And, coupling those with good quality fat. I like to lean into plant-based fat, so avocado, nuts, seeds, things of that nature, good quality oils. Uh, the whole seed oil thing has like gotten crazy. And
Yeah,
I really want to like talk about that because I think it's one of those
please.
social media myths that
Yeah,
went awry. But, really focusing on those three categories and hydrating. I've
yeah.
always take your water with you, put some electrolytes in there. And hydration is honestly, in some ways, more important than food because
Mhm.
we can live up to 3 weeks without food, but 3 days without water.
Right.
So staying hydrated is what keeps your cells healthy. It's what keeps your energy high. It's what helps with metabolism and digestion and really keeping your engine clean.
Mhm. What are you aiming for in terms of maybe ounces of water per day?
I like to say half your body weight. It
Okay.
should be your goal. So if, 100 and, 80 pounds, you're striving for 90 ounces of water. And that will vary. That doesn't have to be just water. It can be, clear liquid.
Mhm.
Obviously, if you're drinking 3 or 4 cups of coffee, which is dehydrating, you need
Mhm.
to replenish
Mhm.
your water stores if you're drinking a lot of coffee. But, that can come in the form of like an herbal tea, it can come in the form of a light lemonade, for example. But the goal is really, not a lot of sugar in that water or
Mhm.
in that hydration. And you're increasing as you're increasing your physical activity, or maybe if it's hot outside, you just want to make sure that you're drinking a little bit more.
Talk to me about how physical activity plays a role, and
Mm.
what type of physical activity.
Physical activity, the studies are showing us that physical activity basically can replace or should replace any sort of, you know, type of and I should be careful saying this because I'm not a doctor. But let me put it this way. I've seen so many people come off of medication because they started exercising.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is tied to depression and mental well-being.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's incredibly important for cardiovascular health.
Mhm.
It is strategically important for muscle and for the longevity of your skeletal system, because it's the framework. It's what holds, your connective tissue together.
Mhm.
And I I just like to think, I mean, movement is so joyful.
Yeah.
It reminds us of a day when we were younger and carefree and we would play outside. I don't know about you, but I grew up in New
Yep.
York. My parents would have to like yell to get us into the
Yeah.
house at 8, 9 o'clock at night. If they let us stay out later, we were really happy, but
Mhm.
we just couldn't, we wouldn't go inside unless we absolutely had to.
Mhm.
We were just playing and we were naturally physical. And we have to combat all of the distractions in our day and age with the screen time and, all the other things that kids get caught up in, but adults need to model that too. So I think if you change your outlook on exercise and really think a bit about it as movement and playtime
Yeah.
and finding the thing that you love. And I hear so many people say, I don't like to be active. I don't like exercise. Well, I think you have to examine why. Is it because you don't like to feel uncomfortable?
Mhm.
And a lot of people don't, but you can't grow without getting uncomfortable in
Right.
any shape, in any part of your life. So I think you just have to find the thing that brings you joy, and that movement will just become so intrinsically important to your life.
I have so many things to say on this topic because, as an example, and we just found out that we do fitness competing. Um, so I just started with a new coach, and there is a tendency, especially I feel like with like men coaches, then it's not like they're sitting there with technology that says, okay, what's the zone of proximal development for this person? So 20% beyond their current capacity. They're not using anything scientific.
Mm.
This particular coach, he's trying to break me. Like so, and as a competitive person, I refuse to be broken.
Mm.
But that is different than optimal fitness, right? Like that like
Yes.
last night I found myself saying, I was like, oh, I could see why people quit. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean? It's
of
like, this
course.
is not fun.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
Exactly. But to your point, that's overkill.
Yes.
That is a different game.
Mhm.
So if they have experience of that, whether it be going back to gym class and they had the knucklehead football teacher that's like, no, everybody's going to run a 6-minute mile,
Yeah.
regardless of whether or not you're capable of doing that. That can turn people off.
Absolutely.
Have you gotten into animal movements? Have you seen this lately?
I not so much. I
Okay.
mean, I've seen it, but it's
Yeah.
not something that, I mean, other than like a bear crawl or something
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
in a fitness class.
Yeah.
But I will say, I just got back from the Mediterranean. I
Mhm.
spent 2 months this summer in Spain
Mhm.
and France, and I saw almost no obesity,
Yeah.
almost no, what I would consider like an unhealthy state. And they just walk everywhere.
Mhm.
Movement is a regular daily part of life. And I don't think we should discount the importance of all of those little movements that add up throughout the day,
Mhm.
because sitting is almost as harmful to your body as smoking.
Mhm.
So if we're sitting for long periods of time and we're not getting up and moving and we're not, physically active throughout the day, I mean, 1 hour of exercise is great, but I almost think it's more important to just move throughout the day. And I really saw that in real life. I saw smaller portions of food.
Mhm.
I saw really high quality, the quality of food in the Mediterranean is just like unbelievable.
Mhm.
And it's affordable. People are eating for like joyfully with other people. And
Right.
for all those reasons, if you study the blue zones and see what the people who live the longest around the world do, it's a lot of the habits that I've talked about. It's not just the food, it's not just the fitness or the movement. It's all of those things. It's that with the community, with the faith, with the, you know what I mean? It's that compound effect. Like you talked about
Mhm.
compound interest. It's really the compound effect of bringing all that together. And if you choose to be in a fitness competition, you're right. You're maybe the point zero zero zero
Mhm.
zero zero 0.00001% that's out there trying to really push the limits of
Mhm.
what you can do. But I will tell you this. I started lifting weights in my 50s after I tore my ACL in a freak accident playing just silly basketball with my husband and my son.
Mhm.
And I realized how fragile I actually
Yeah.
was. Even though I thought I was really fit and healthy, I wasn't. And lifting weights changed everything for me. It changed just how I see strength. It changed my body metabolically. I do think it's the anti-aging,
Oh yeah.
formula, because I mean, I'm sitting here with you in my mid 50s, and I can tell you I'm stronger than I've ever been. So I think if you can fall in love with some resistance training,
Mhm.
you will reap the benefits leaps and bounds, and then do something else cardiovascularly that you love. I just happen to love to dance. I love
Same.
to dance.
Yeah.
You do? What kind of dance?
West Coast swing, bachata, and salsa.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And when you dance, like you sweaty and but like euphoric.
Yes.
It's this adrenaline high. I love hip hop. Hip hop is like my thing.
Yeah.
So, and I love Latin dance too. But I think you got to just find that thing that you fall in love with. And when you do it, you'll never feel like you're working. It's kind of like doing what you
Mhm.
love for your job. It just feels like joy.
All right, so I'm going to try to sell you on animal flow.
Okay.
So all of the things you're describing, um, I feel like you will feel the same exact way about animal flow. I wish it wasn't called animal flow because people are like, okay, like what's
It needs to be rebranded.
Yes, yes. So the problem that I experienced with lifting for so long is, they're very geometric lifts, like very sharp edges, like bench press,
Yeah.
right? Like
One
rows,
direction.
100%. And then I started getting weaknesses and like aches and pains. And like, why am I getting aches and pains? It's because there's all of this in the middle connective tissue, so to speak,
Mm.
that just the strength wasn't there. So I would find and say, okay, I can spend 3 hours in the gym lifting all of the classic weights, but then I'm trying to screw in a light bulb. And I'm like, I got to take a couple breaks.
Throwing your back out.
100%. And animal flow, it's the way I could describe it is, number one, it was life changing for me, literally. And I've been working out for a long time.
Mm.
So it's basically a combination of, let's call it yoga and Pilates, but in movement.
Okay.
So really using that transverse plane.
Yeah.
It just like opened up my body. And I'm still like in the infancy of my journey there, but I'd highly recommend if you ever have a chance.
Yeah, I'm definitely, I totally see the merit of that. And now that I'm really thinking through some of the training I've done, like a good friend of mine teaches a format called Ripped, and they incorporate some of
I would
those
be
types of movements
guaranteed.
and
Yeah.
that. I agree with you. I think, being able to, and that's why I love aerobic movement, is I feel like you can get some of that
Oh, yeah.
additional, kind of, I believe in yoga 100%, like, but more like flow yoga,
Yeah.
where your mobility and your flexibility are an important part of that. Anything that you can do to keep your joints lubricated,
Yep.
is what I like to say. And I really learned that the hard way when I tore my ACL, longitudinal tear in my meniscus, and fractured my tibia in that same silly accident.
Were you trying to dunk a basketball?
I was just like trying to cross up,
Yeah.
and I got crossed up,
Yeah.
just doing that silly lateral movement.
Yeah.
And, but Wes, you know what? I never had the surgery. I opted out of
Really?
surgery. So instead
No
of
way.
surgery, I have a kind of a crazy story. So it was in 2020. We had just gotten married. Okay, I had been a single mom for 13 years while
Mhm.
building my business, and got
That's
remarried
crazy.
in February of 2020.
Okay.
I think it was probably the last wedding of the year.
Right. And COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic hit, and then I had this accident 2 months later. So you could probably put two and two together. There was a lot of change, a lot of shock, a
Mhm.
lot of trauma in a very short period of time. And my body was responding. It was like, no, you want to go that way? You're not going that way.
Mhm.
Like, we're not aligned in here.
Mhm.
And what I realized was that brain body connection is so important.
Mm.
When you go into the gym and you really need to train hard, you're not just going in there and doing it because your body says it can do it.
Mm.
You're doing it because your brain tells your body, yes, you're going to do it. And you can overcome a lot if you put your mind to it. It's like the mindset piece is, I mean, all the elite athletes, Kobe talked about it
Mm.
all the time. It was that Mamba mentality. And that really applies, I think, the sport of life, you know,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
everybody has that ability to really apply their mindset. And I started telling my body that it was healed. I prayed a lot and I started telling my body it was healed. And I started lifting for strength to help support my, all the connective tissue that was not working it because you can't regrow
Mm-hmm.
an ACL.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't come back. And I am here today to tell you that I can move laterally, I can move forward and back, I can jump. I jump roped for 5 minutes the other day.
Yeah.
If you go on my Instagram, you'll see I did the Nicki Minaj balance challenge, holding
Okay.
my book in one hand and a glass in the other on a table. So that's
Okay.
holding that pose on my knee,
Yeah.
bent with my other knee extended.
Wow.
And thank God I'm here to tell you I did it. And I'm not the only one. I've heard a lot of people say the same thing. And that's why I think like the mindset piece and being aligned with our purpose and our body and intuitively like understanding that we are not disconnected from here to here to
Right.
here. It's all one.
Oh, 100%. There's a really nerdy book I'm reading right now called Behave, which is written by Dr. Robert Sapolsky out of Stanford. And he's like evolutionary neurobiologist, some crazy title like that. And it talks all about that. And he's not a hippy dippy woo woo guy. This is like the math of how the body's connected with the brain, and particularly parts of the brain, which is pretty crazy. Dancing. I did not know we also share this as an
Yeah.
affinity. What does your dancing journey look like? And I want to get into hip hop,
Okay.
so we should talk more
Yeah.
about that off camera.
Yeah, definitely.
So tell me what that's like
Yeah.
for you.
When I was, I mean, I was a gymnast when I was young, dancing, like, I mean, and good or bad, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights, we were out in the clubs dancing. I mean,
Yeah.
it was, the late 80s, 90s.
And you're
But
still in New York at this point.
in Colorado.
In Colorado, okay.
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So that was kind of the middle point. But there is something about movement. I love dancing. I love watching dance. When I I went to the University of Colorado in Boulder, and I announced to my dad that I was going to be a dance major, and he was like, "No, I am not paying for
Yeah.
your education to be
Yeah.
a dance major." But I had dreams. I wanted to be like, the dancers on Fame.
Yeah.
And I did modern, I did ballet, I did, lyrical, I did everything.
Mhm.
And I don't know, it's hard to describe the emotion. When I watched dance when I was in Spain, became obsessed with flamenco,
Mm.
and I would cry. I would
Yeah.
sob
Yeah.
watching these flamenco dancers. The joy and the pain and the stories that they would tell with their hand movements. And I'm Middle Eastern, so like belly dancers, I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of like the story of belly dancing.
Mhm.
But flamenco is like on another level. I just absolutely am obsessed with it. But I love to watch it. I love to do it. I love what it does for your brain.
100%.
Memorizing a choreography. I've done Latin dance where you have to dance with other partners and
Yep.
you like rotate and
Yep.
dance and you have to practice patience
Mhm.
and let the guy lead and kind of get used to like how your body moves with other people. And I think I saw so many people dancing in the street in France and Spain, like just people of all ages, young, elderly, on a Thursday night, somebody would bring out a speaker and
Yeah.
there'd be like 15 couples dancing in the street. And it's beautiful.
I'm so happy we stumbled on this topic. I am a nerd through and through, right? Like hippy dippy stuff just doesn't register in my brain. It's like I need to know like how the watch works. I don't even care what time it is. I need to know how the
Yeah.
watch works. And when I started dancing, I was able to feel, it felt like for the first time in my life, the full range and spectrum of emotions.
Mm, that's
And
good.
I still can't even probably articulate it to the degree that it deserves, but I feel like, in particular, American men in particular,
Yeah.
are missing out on such a pocket of happiness.
Yeah. I
It's
agree.
unreal.
I agree.
It's so like you when the reason I started dancing was I wanted to stop drinking in college. I was like, this can't be it, and I realized it's like,
Yeah.
okay, sorry, I put in a spreadsheet. I was like, why do I drink? And then yeah,
In a spreadsheet.
yeah. So I
I
analyzed it. I was
love it.
like, okay,
I
here are
love
the
it.
reasons why, and it's like, oh, they're just all because I'm trying to have fun, I'm trying to socialize, and so on. It's like, but then I pay the price dramatically. Health benefit,
Yeah.
like all of these things just decline, right? As soon as you put alcohol in your body, at least in my
100%.
opinion. So then I started dancing. I was like, oh, this is what, and then I caught the bug. I used to dance 7 days a week,
Wow.
and you can go to a salsa club, starts lessons at 10 a.m. and doesn't stop until 2 a.m.,
Wow.
right? You dance the whole day. And it's just amazing the benefits. Meanwhile, you're working out. You didn't think you were working out the
Yeah,
entire time.
definitely.
Plus, partner dancing in particular, it's just like this beautiful analogy, at least the way that I think about it. It's like, okay, I get an opportunity to self-express, but with boundaries, because I have to respect the boundaries and self-expression of my partner.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a triad. We have to do that according to the boundaries of the music. So like there's just this a bunch of symbolism in there.
Hmm.
And how do we make that look beautiful?
Yeah.
Because when it doesn't look beautiful, that means okay, it's clunky there. How do you fix it?
Yeah.
And how do you fix, and you can't just like with dancing, you can't just like grind it out. It's not like grinding out the next rep. It's like I've got to surrender, but then also like create at the same time. It's a really interesting dynamic.
No, that you said that so beautifully. And I think all different types of dance, have a different magical,
Yeah.
a kind of side effect, I
Mhm.
guess is what I'm
Mhm.
trying to say. So for me, hip hop, I grew up in New York.
Yeah.
80s hip hop is like my favorite. It's
Okay.
still my favorite
Love it.
music.
Yeah.
And there is something about a beat. If you're human and you have like
Yep.
warm blood, I can't see how you can't just like naturally vibe with music.
Mhm.
It is something in us biologically that we are, largely water. So when we hear a vibration, we don't hear it, we feel it. Like we
Interesting.
feel
I've never thought
music.
about that. The water component.
Oh yeah. I mean, it is just we don't just hear. It tickles all of our senses. So I think if you don't react to it, it's almost like you're kind of denying something in you or you're
You're
resisting
suppressing it.
something
Yeah.
if you don't just even like get a
Yeah.
little groove on,
Yeah.
And I can there's so I can vibe with almost any kind of music. Right before I came here, we went and watched this very talented local gal perform at the Casa Romantica in San Clemente, and she just is a songwriter and guitarist, and she played, and like there was every age you could think of in that hall listening, and everybody was just mesmerized.
Mhm.
I really think that appreciating the arts in that kind of live way can be something that can bring so much fulfillment
Mhm.
for a number of different reasons. Even if you don't do it yourself, even
Yeah.
if you're shy or embarrassed, I've seen the shyest people come out of their shell learning how to dance.
Yep.
I've danced with people who were so shy that you could just tell like their hands were clammy and
Mhm.
sweaty, but they did it anyway.
Mhm.
And there is an overcoming that happens when you do things that maybe might embarrass you or maybe you're not great at first, but then when you get better and good at them, it's like, wow, I did it.
Yep. Oh
And
yeah.
and that is a milestone.
Yeah. I have found that once you get enough intellectual horsepower, you can kind of override or like overshadow a lot of inadequacies. And I do say inadequacies as a good thing, right? Like, hey, if I've got lack in skill, then I want to find out where that is. But once you get to a certain like level of mental horsepower, you can kind of fake a lot of things. When I started dancing, I was like, oh, I am very deficient mentally. So as an example, I went through this period of my life where I was like, I'm just gonna say yes to all of the embarrassing things. So I found myself in an Orange County housewives class, hip hop class, right in the Equinox, mirrors all around, terribly, what would you say, frightening to me. And I was like, I'm gonna walk in that class, and I'm not going to walk out until it's over. And the instructor would say, do a certain thing with your hand. Now, I'm a male from Philadelphia. I have certain masculine boundaries in my head of like, I can't do that with my
Do you
hand.
think of Rocky?
Oh yeah, 100%, right?
Okay.
Like just we're just a bunch of apes, right? You know, so telling that type of man to move his hand in what would be historically or like a feminine type of way,
Yeah.
there is a physical block on my head because of the mental block.
Right.
And dance forced out the exposure of those deficiencies. And then it's like, okay, now once you recognize that deficiency, can you actually do it? I mean, this is how crazy it is. The amount of, how would you say this? Traditionally masculine compromising scenarios I've been in jiu-jitsu. There's positions that you get in
Sure.
jiu-jitsu with
Sure.
other men that are unbelievably, right? Like, you know, you see where I'm going with
Yeah.
that. But in dance, so I can do all those things in jiu-jitsu, and I'm completely fine with it because I'm
Yeah.
not relating it to anything other than like, oh, I'm trying to beat another dude up.
Right.
You ask me in dance just to like raise a pinky in a
Yeah.
certain way, I'm like, no chance.
Yeah.
So it just forced me to grow. That and improv comedy, like the two biggest self-development things I think I've ever done. And dancing by far, for sure, has given me the most growth.
That's cool. Yeah, I think, you know, I'll go back to watching flamenco. Men and women do flamenco. I think a lot of people just think it's women, and they think of, you know, the big red dress
Right.
and the castanets. Men do flamenco too. And watching the men do it, it's highly masculine. It is very like it's very expressive, there's a lot of emphasis in like the striking the pose and like you can feel a little of the machismo actually in the poses. And at the same time, you can also feel the finesse and see the finesse, which some people might equate to as feminine, but like Derek Huff, have you ever watched him dance? The guy is unbelievable. And he does some things that might, you know, be seen as like somewhat feminine, but he's as masculine as they get. So I think there is an inherent ability to embrace both in that movement. I think the same could be said for women when they dance. Sometimes women, when you watch them, they seem very strong. They seem very like, even a ballerina can look incredibly strong.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that you can embrace both sides at the same time in your craft, you know. And when I dance, I mean, I am by no means any sort of expert. I mean, but when I dance, I feel like I can get kind of funky with it and maybe like have that swag at the same time that I can flow. So I think you can have both.
Absolutely.
And I think a really important quality in business and in life is being able to see things from both sides.
Yeah, which is why I'm piecing this together in my head. It's now not surprising to me at all that you've been able to produce the success in business that you have. Because even from the moment you walked in the door, like there's an aura about you. And again, this is coming from a non-hippy-dippy person, right? Like you have a certain amount of energy. And the way that I'm now piecing that together in my mind is like, yeah, of course she does. Because, you know, going with a holistic theme, you've developed holistic skills in a lot of different areas. So extremely well-rounded. And when you bring that level of completeness and ambition to business, it's game over. And probably the only other thing you need as like to add gasoline to it is to be in a position where you're a single mom raising a child. I was raised by a single mom, so I'd imagine that's a big part of your story. Would you mind sharing?
It is. Yeah, absolutely. that was the pivot point of becoming an entrepreneur.
Mm.
I had been in the corporate world for, 3 decades basically. And there is nothing wrong with that. I feel like I was able to learn processes, learn infrastructure, understand full spectrum, the back end of a business and forward facing,
Mhm.
how to manage both sides. But it wasn't until I became a single mom that I realized that was the proverbial fork in the road. I was going to have to
Yeah.
choose. I was going to have to choose either living someone else's dream and bringing their P&L to
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
fruition,
yeah.
or
That's a great
taking
way
a
of phrasing it. Yeah.
yeah, or taking a chance, really. And everybody thought I was absolutely out of my mind. The last position I held was a VP level, and I had stock options and everything. But I had to walk in one day, and not by my choice, but because of an error at the CEO level, that I had to lay off half the staff,
Mm.
and I couldn't do it, so I laid myself off.
Mm.
And I just couldn't. I couldn't bring myself to being in that position, and that is when I decided this is the end. I need to forge a new path.
Right.
And I did it for my kids in a way because I wanted to be able to go to their events. I wanted to be able to go to their sports. Both played sports. My daughter she was in the band. I wanted to go to her concerts. I wanted to be there. I wanted to be present because I was the only parent that was present in their lives, and they deserved that from me. So I had to make some choices. I had to move back in with my parents.
Hmm.
I had to kind of strip down what my idea of success was in the physical things and the space and the kind of the thing that I had built that I was so proud of having my own home and
Yeah.
raising my kids and having a nice car and all the things. And I just had to put that on the back burner for a little bit. And what that did was it really reset how I see success. And till this day, I will tell you that I don't necessarily see success. I've had the nice things, and I've had the nice homes and the nice, cars and the stuff. But I will tell you, I think that the mark of success is freedom to do what you want to do when you want to do it, and the ability to say no
Mm.
and not to feel guilty about it. I wanted to build that. I wanted to build that for my kids and for myself, and I feel like that entrepreneurial path is really what shifted everything. And I became an entrepreneur in my late 40s. I built so much in, between 47 and 50, and patented my product line, and I did a lot.
Oh yeah, you did.
Now I started earlier. I truly, so if I really trace back, let me kind of reframe. So I became an entrepreneur in my late 30s, but the real magic happened in my late 40s.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, when did you move back in with your parents, if you don't mind me asking?
I was 41.
Yeah, that is amazing because think about the mental head trash of most people in that position. Hey, I'm 41. My entrepreneurial game is over. I had that window, didn't take advantage of it. There's no chance. Well, why? Why can't you just slightly change some pieces on the chessboard, move back in with the parents, and you had two kids at this point?
Hmm.
Yeah. So, and then you have all of the success afterwards. Like there is no age limit. I mean, what did they say? Like Colonel Sanders developed like KFC when he got his first Social Security check, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think also my Middle Eastern roots, we just see the family unit differently.
Fair enough.
We
Yeah.
don't we don't see it being like, oh, there's a defined age where you need to then move out. I still have cousins in their 30s that are living with their parents.
Mhm.
It's more of an economic choice and a choice to be a multi-generational home that helps and supports each other.
Yeah.
So the grandparents end up helping with the young kids, and the kids end up helping with, keeping the home running and fixing things and going out and earning, income to help contribute back to the home, cooking, sharing the responsibilities of the house. Now, why are people so stressed out now? It's because they're working all these crazy hours and then they're trying to live a life at home. Well, it's nice when somebody can cook for you so you have a meal when you get home, right?
Yeah.
Or, you share these responsibilities. And I don't see any stigma in it at all. I think it's kind of a smart thing to do if you think about. That's why communes were created.
Hmm.
It's so people could live in community. I know that's a hippy dippy thing to say,
No,
but
I'm for it.
what is, I mean, really, the only stigma that there is the ones that we create.
100%.
So if I, can create a comfortable situation for my parents where, I'm helping cook or I'm helping with yard work or I'm cleaning up the house, and then in turn they're helping me with the kids and they're giving me a roof over my head, like, why wouldn't I choose that?
100%.
And that's what helped me reset so that I could slingshot the business and build, again, because I really had to rebuild my life.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, quick side note on that. I think America has got it wrong. Like this rugged individualist type of thing, and like
Yeah.
success is like siloed. I don't think that makes sense at all. I think seeing cultures where there's multiple generations inside of a household is a beautiful thing, right? Like think about the lessons that could be passed, up and down that chain.
100%.
Absolutely. And so you were able to pivot, chart your own path, and you're saying, "Hey, I'm optimizing for autonomy." Um, from there, right? You build a brand and a business, which, like I said in the beginning, oftentimes doesn't happen. How teach us something about that, right? Like,
Yeah.
and there's no nuance that is insignificant. So,
Hmm.
like,
So the nascence of the invention, I will take you back to the first kind of this foray into entrepreneurial life was with a brand that I created called Eat Cleaner.
okay,
Eat Cleaner is a line of food safety and shelf life extension products that are all natural with low impact to the environment that can help to remove up to 99.99% of the residue from your fresh food that can cause foodborne illness like salmonella, E. coli,
okay,
and listeria, while extending shelf life up to 5 times longer. So you have less waste in the landfills and more fresh, bacteria, basically bacteria free food on your table and pesticide free. So the nascence for that came from my background in food and also my father. So incidentally, we created this line together. And he is a retired professor, Colorado State University, emeritus professor, and he has his master's in agriculture and medical biology, and had done a lot of work in his doctoral thesis on how to remove those residues, like pesticide residue, from fresh produce.
wow, yeah,
And right around when my son was born, he's going to be 20 this year. So about a little over 20 years ago, my dad got cancer. He got prostate and bladder cancer. And during that journey, he was told by the doctors to avoid all raw food because of the risk of foodborne illness. Because if you get sick from food as somebody who's immune compromised, it can be very devastating. So avoid raw food. They didn't say anything about like avoiding sugar. They just said avoid raw food.
Don't even get me started on this topic. Yeah,
Cancer
yeah,
feeds on sugar. So as a nutritionist, I was like, this is wrong. The way that you are going to regain your health and your well-being is by eating the rainbow, like I mentioned. So we have to get you eating nutrient dense enzyme food that builds your gut health, because if you don't have your gut health, you don't have health. Period. So that really kind of was the drive. That was my why. When I resigned that day, in the back of my mind, I said to myself, I'm going to take that idea that my dad's been telling me
Mm,
to work on for the past decade, and I'm going to bring it to fruition with
amazing.
his help. So we really built that together. We built the product. My dad's the science mind, I'm the product
Mhm.
marketing mind. So he would help with the actual, formulations. We tested 9 different formulations and we honed it down to one that didn't have an impact on flavor, that was lab proven because we had to have the science behind it. We
Mhm.
did a lot of trials, third party lab trials. And it had to checklist all of the natural ingredients that you would find like in a store that I,
Sure.
had my roots in. So whether it be Whole Foods or Sprouts, it needed to check off the list of the okay ingredients. So we formulated it and then we tested it and we got the formula that we wanted. We took that formula and we created a few different iterations of it. We put it into a liquid spray bottle. We created a biodegradable wipe. So if you had like an apple
Right.
or a pear on the go, you're traveling, you want to grab something, cleaning an apple
Yeah.
under a sink is
Yeah.
doing
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
absolutely nothing. So we made these biodegradable wipes. We made a concentrate that you could add to water and fill a sink with. We created a powder wash, and then we created anti-browning products for the food service industry. So, like the cut apples you would buy
Mhm.
in the store might have been treated with our product. So, it kind of built and morphed into different types of products. And we built that over the course of, 13 years.
Mhm.
So, again, starting in my late
Yeah.
30s and building until really, late 40s into my early 50s.
Wow. That's amazing. And then, so what's amazing about your story is all of those things, but the behind the scenes there is building a brand and marketing is very difficult. Okay, hey, we can get the product right. Also very difficult. But now, how do you sell the product? And I think that's where most entrepreneurs really lack. How do you build the sales funnel with integrity? How do you get it
Mhm.
out there? How do you get attention? What's your secret sauce there? Because you've done such a great job of branding yourself, branding the business. Like, talk to me about that.
This is kind of a funny story, but I, my going back to my roots in the natural products industry, I had worked with a lot of brands and I knew what a good brand looked like.
Mhm.
I knew how the marketing should look. I knew how the product should look. I understood advertising and PR because I had a background in that as well. I had done that for a period of my
Mhm.
career. And so I understood strategically what all these pieces should look like. I just had never done it.
Mm.
So we stumbled a lot in the beginning. And it was a very small team. It was me, a friend of mine who was a really talented product packaging designer, and a money guy. So we kind of, the three of us, built some prototypes and we did a lot of it. It was just me and the product designer guy did a lot of that heavy lifting. And I feel like we just kind of were able to see the vision
Mhm.
and understand it so that we could bring it to life. But then the secret sauce you asked is, rather than hiring a spokesperson and outsourcing all of the advertising, things like that, I just did it
Yeah.
myself. I became the brand. And I did it more, not so out of ego or vanity. I did it out of budget.
Yeah. 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 Necessity.
I
Yeah.
did it
Yeah.
because I couldn't afford to hire a spokesperson and pay them,
Right.
tens of thousands of dollars to be like the face of my campaign. I also knew from my PR days that you can hire a face and they could get into some hot water or
Mm.
have a personal issue that could kill your brand.
Right.
So I didn't want to gamble it. I didn't want to put my chips on somebody that I couldn't control their personal life. I could control my own personal
Yeah.
life. So, I have a little chutzpah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got a little sauciness to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And I decided to create a rap.
Okay.
It's called the Eat Cleaner rap. You can still find it on YouTube, but the
Okay.
thing went viral. And I wrote a rap. I told you I like hip hop.
Yeah.
I wrote a rap, produced it with a good friend of mine, and we created a music video. And I would take that video to my meetings at retailers.
Yeah.
And I would go in and do my little dog and pony show and show the before and after. I was like HSN before I got on
Yeah.
HSN.
Yeah.
And I would show the video, and they were just like, who is this crazy person?
Yeah.
I just was not the stereotype of a
Mhm.
brand entrepreneur.
Mhm.
I didn't go in a suit, and I went in like in my, chef coat
Yeah.
with, my little setup, and then I would show the video. And I think many people thought I was nuts.
Yeah.
But interesting enough, where it was convincing to see that we had the science behind it,
Mhm.
we had the data, we had the proof, the efficacy, we had a growing number of consumers with amazing testimonials. And social media made it really easy for us to share all that. So the snowball started to build with these strategic things. I went live on Facebook all the time when they let like non-celebrity people go live. I
Mhm.
would go live. I got on QVC. So I started doing QVC shows, and then I got on HSN. I got on a show called Hatched,
Mhm.
and got picked up by HSN. So we were on HSN maybe 7 or 8 times. And then I got on a show called Recipe Rehab.
Okay.
And I just pitched my cooking skills and my ability to talk about nutrition. They were looking for chefs who also could talk about why they were picking things. Why would you swap out, a cup of sugar for a cup of pureed beets?
Mhm.
That kind of cooking.
Right.
And so I was able to do that live on television. So I got picked up on a YouTube pilot and then
Yeah.
ended up being on the show for 3 seasons. So all these little pieces of the patchwork started to weave together. And people would start seeing me on YouTube, and they'd start seeing me on HSN and QVC, and they'd start seeing me on network television. And then I became a published author. So I wrote for other people. I contributed to the Daniel Plan, which is a New York Times multi-million copy bestseller that started at Saddleback Church. I was one of the signature chefs and wrote all the meal plans for the
Oh,
program.
really?
And then I published my own books. And so and this was not an overnight thing, mind you, Wes.
Yeah.
This was over a decade.
Yeah.
So it started with me being a corporate gal, and I kind of just built my own reputation. And I did things out of the box. And I really tried to just make it about a personal story.
Mhm.
I would tell people I created this product because my dad got cancer and I didn't want to lose him.
Mhm.
And I felt that he and other people who were compromised, I get a little choked up when I talk about it
No.
every
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
who are immune compromised deserve to be able to eat a salad safely. And that was kind of the showstopper. I spoke from my heart. I still do. And it's what got the attention of Joy Mangano and why I sold the company.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, this is outstanding. I mean, I love how you're articulating all this. Hey, I was building the mosaic, and eventually all of those pieces kind of come together,
Yeah.
and the sum total is greater than the individual pieces just added together. Um, how and let me know if I'm off here. It seems like the development of the parallel, like personal brand along with the brand of the product, probably then gives you other opportunities beyond when, hey, we sold this company now, but you still have the asset of you.
Exactly. And that's exactly what happened. So I'll take you back a few years ago. So I was just in a place, I'd reached a place in my life where I really wanted to do other things.
Mhm.
I had been building this brand and building, the brand Eat Cleaner and the brand Chef Mareya on a parallel path and, kind of crossing over
Yeah.
in
Oh, yeah.
many ways. And I felt that I was at a point in my life where I really wanted to use my voice more and help to empower people more and help to kind of, bridge that gap that I see that is so clear between true wellness and this fake idea that is just having the perfect body
Yeah.
and, a diet that you think
Right.
is right. I really want people to experience true joy, which is coincidental that I ended up selling my business to a woman named Joy.
Mhm.
So as I, I was going on HSN, we were doing really well. I was featured in a segment called American Dreams and got to tell my story about being the daughter of an immigrant family and how my parents came to this country from Egypt when I
Mhm.
was 2 with nothing. They came literally with $20 in their pocket and a dream. And got on the show, sold out my product many times over, and we got the attention of Joy Mangano. Joy is the creator of the Miracle Mop. She was
Mm.
basically the first like success story on QVC, and they made a movie about her called Joy that came out in I believe 2015 or 2016.
Who was the actress who played her?
Jennifer
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was on the tip of my tongue. Yep.
Yeah, and I took my kids to that movie, and single mom.
Yeah.
I bawled my eyes out the whole
Aw.
time because she was a single mom.
Yeah.
Deadbeat husband, so many parallels, right? And she had this dream. She had this invention that nobody could really see the merit of. She actually like tried to sell it from the parking lot of grocery stores.
Yeah.
And people wouldn't pay her any attention. The first time she got the chance to be on QVC, it wasn't her, it was someone else that tried to sell the mop, and it was a flop.
Mm.
And they tried to send all the mops that she had created back to her. And she was like, no, you don't understand. I like mortgaged my house to do this.
Wow.
Give me a chance to be on camera. I will sell those mops. And the rest is history. Like she was able to translate her passion into something.
Mhm.
And I could relate to her on so many levels. She was me. I was her.
Yeah.
So it really put some, perspective under my wings that my story was important. It was meaningful and it wasn't polished. And I was not
Yeah.
a polished CEO by any means. Some days I would have to take calls with a sick kid, and they were coughing in the background. I'd have to apologize, or I would take my kids to events and they would help me and they would pass out samples and people would be like, wow, your kids are here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. I
Yeah.
have a babysitter. Like, this is life.
Love it.
This is
Absolutely love it.
reality.
Yep.
And I just embraced that. And fast forward a few years later, I, got remarried and kind of was facing this new reality in life and wanted to give my attention to my family and went through a pandemic. And it was just a lot. It was a
Mhm.
lot. And at the same time, I was ready to take this big step to kind of change how I serve people because I really see what I do as being in service to
Mhm.
others. And so I got a call out of the blue from the same woman who was on the show Hatched, that was a buyer for HSN. And she said, Joy wants to talk to you.
Mm.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
Joy? Like Joy Mangano?
Yeah.
And she's like, the Joy. She saw your product. We pitched it to her because she was doing a show. And she's very interested. It like really lends to her brand, Clean Boss,
Mm.
which is all about clean cleaning and using low impact materials for a cleaner world that are not harmful. And so her son came to meet me in my home. And then I went to meet Joy and the whole family. I mean, her
Yeah.
whole family works with her. So it's like a multi-generational business.
How awesome is that?
Yeah. And walked in, and I just can't really describe the feeling. It was like the craziest full circle moment. I was like,
experience, all that.
Total out of body experience. And I took my daughter with me.
How cool is that?
To that
What
meeting.
year was this?
This was in 2022.
So you had already seen the movie.
Oh yeah.
And your
like
kids already went to the
7
theater.
years prior.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah, they had already been to the movie with me.
Yeah.
They knew about Joy. Um, I had explained everything about her, watched the movie many times, and just kind of watched her from afar, and just was trying to stay the course and build my own thing, and got the call and went to meet her. And, you know, long story short, ended up making the decision to allow them to acquire the assets
Mhm.
of my company. I am still a shareholder. I am still um, a consultant
Mhm.
and advise them regularly. I'm still, in contact and part of you know, their orbit.
Yeah.
Um, but it was time for me to do something different. And, the net of that whole experience to me was, don't think small. Small is just a temporary situation.
Mm.
And I really feel that the last few years that I've given focus to my family and really how I want to serve. I've started my own podcast. I'm working on another book. I'm consulting clients, and I'm building something else, albeit slowly, because I'm choosing to do it
Mhm.
slowly, because I'm doing it on my time. It felt like the right move. It felt like the right time and place to be able to make that shift.
Yeah, that's amazing. The authentic thought that I've been having in my head is like, so you got married. You said in your 50s. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. You are very intimidating, and I mean that in a good way. Like that is like that takes quite a
Yeah.
man to be able. Like that's because of your accomplishments, specifically your accomplishments through the chaos and your decisions to say, okay, hey, I could have a nice cushy life right now, but I think there's something better.
Yeah.
Because I have found that sacrificing bad for good is pretty easy because it's so obvious. Right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I've got a bad situation, let's make it better. But sacrificing good for great is super hard. But then sacrificing great for best is like almost impossible.
Yeah.
Right? It's because it's like now, hey, I could have a guaranteed path here of a pretty good life, right? A great life, in fact. But I want the best. I don't want to die with the music left in me.
100%. That was so beautifully articulated. And I think it's a refinement process every single day,
Mm.
because our humanity wants to lock into what's familiar and
Yeah.
what we
Oh yeah.
know
Yeah.
all the time. But I really force myself to get out of my comfort zone all the time.
Mhm.
And
I can
that's
tell.
why I do the things, It's why I picked up ukulele at age
Of course you
48,
did.
that's why I am learning Spanish right now and polishing I speak 5 languages. Not all fluently, but that is my goal, is
Yeah.
to speak all fluently. And it's why I feel like as long as I have breath in my lungs,
Mm.
I don't rest, because I have eyeballs watching me. I have people I'm responsible for. I am still my kids' role model,
Yeah. That's cool.
And so, but like I said, Wes, my idea of success got redefined many years ago.
Mhm.
I could have gone out and spent the money on a lot of things.
Yeah.
But what I chose to do is create an environment where I could be around my family more.
Mhm.
Instead of being on a plane all the time, I reeled my business back and made it so that I could work from home. I mean,
Yeah.
I think these are all like a custom designed life is one that brings you peace and happiness and tranquility. I don't think there's anything that I would trade at this point in my life for my mental well-being and my peace.
Mm.
You will not find me on a plane every single week. That would wreck me.
Mhm.
Like, I'm just not built for it,
Mhm.
I would love to go and stay a month in France,
Yeah.
but to have to travel for business and be like, God bless anybody who wants to do that. It's just not for me. So I wanted to design a life, even if it meant sacrifice, that I wouldn't do that. So that took me out of public speaking,
Mhm.
because I'm not going to be on a plane every
Yeah,
week
that circuit's tough.
flying to different locations. I just can't do it. So I had to make some real choices. But the good news is that I feel like we live in a day and age where you can design your life.
100%.
You can design what feels good. You can design, like, if you want to work from home, you want to work on the road, you want to be a digital nomad, you want to face clients, you want to have a combination of all of those. Like, that's what I like to do. I like to have a combo.
Mhm.
And So this next era that I'm heading into and I'm forging brick by brick really is about this idea that I believe is what a fit life is. And my company is called Fit Life. And we will be that voice for living a well rounded mind, body, soul fit life. And that means products, that means content, that means events. In fact, we're building an NA event, a non alcoholic event
Really?
and platform.
Awesome. Love it.
And so, and that still means I get to show up and talk to people when I get invited and share, a little bit of wisdom that success is not what the world would have you think it is. Success is your peace.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you, in my opinion, are the definition of holistic success. How old are your kids now?
My son will be 20 this year. My daughter's 24.
Okay. Yeah. So still being able to be, I could totally see them saying like, yeah, mom's a role model, right? Still, even at their ages, right? Like that's a cool thing. I'm just piecing that together, but I would almost guarantee that's got to be their perception.
I guess we could ask them. I mean, we were a tight knit group. We were the Three Musketeers for a long, long time, and we still like feel that tightness together. In fact, we're all three together right now because my son's home from college, and my daughter and I live together right now. So it is really fun, but we're also different in terms of personality.
Yeah.
I'm a total risk taker. I will take the risk
Yeah.
and I will jump, but my kids are not. They're not big risk takers. They're just, that's not in their personality, which is fine, nothing wrong with that. But I just think it's so it's so interesting that I'm like the older one, but I'm the one that's a little crazier, I'll make you laugh in this. So being the competitive person I am, I told my son that I would get to the point where I could lift more than him.
Yes, I'm liking where this is going.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the other day in the gym, we were doing leg press. He's like, don't do that leg press. Do this one. I was like, fine, let's. There was somebody on it already. So I was like, well, we'll wait for them to get off. We'll do the other one. He's like, okay, let's go. So he starts with a set. And I was like, is that all the weight that you're putting on there? He had great. 45s on each side. And he's like, well, this is just warm up. And I was like, okay. So he does 15 reps. Fine, or 12 reps, and I do 15. I'm just like banging him out.
Yeah.
And he kind of looks at, because we haven't lifted together in like 4 months, because he's been at culinary school in New York. So he goes to the bathroom and comes back, and I had put another plate on each side. So we have 180 pounds on the press. And he looks at me and he's like, okay. And so again, 15 reps and no problem. And he's like, how many reps did you do? I was like, 15. I go, but that's still my warm-up rep.
Yeah. Oh, God.
It's my warm-up set. And he's like, oh.
Yeah.
Wow, I guess we haven't worked out together in a while. So I put on another plate on each side. And he was like, we're doing this, huh?
Yeah.
And I was like, we're not stopping. Like, this is not the end. So 3 big plates on each side and then 25s on each side.
Nice.
And I think I could have gone a little heavier, to be honest. But I've worked up to this. Like, this isn't what I did in the beginning. This when I started, my journey of weightlifting at 52.
Yeah.
I couldn't lift, over 300 pounds, but I can do it now. And I weigh just a little over 100 pounds and I'm 5 feet tall for anybody that's not seeing me right now. So, so it's this though. Like, my mindset is like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to tell my legs that you can do it. And he left and he was like, Mom,
canceled his
mad
membership
props,
and everything.
Mad props, Mom. Seriously though, like I was struggling. And I said, just super like in a chill voice, I told you, honey, I was going to lift more than you one day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's just like crush him.
No, I don't think so. I think he thinks it's awesome.
Yeah.
What guy doesn't want to go lift with his mom and have her like outlift him? Really? Like
me.
No,
Yeah,
come
yeah,
on.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I think you'd be
Yeah.
proud of her.
Absolutely. If she stayed like 1% under my
Yeah.
max. Yeah. Yeah. So walk me through. I don't want to monopolize your time here, but can you please? You were so sweet in bringing me a gift. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
outstanding.
Yeah.
Walk me through what this is, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. So, the culinary world, I think many people go to eat or cook food and don't necessarily think about how the health aspects of what they're eating comes
Mhm.
into play, right? Unless you're in that health and
Right,
wellness
right.
world and you're more aware and conscious of it. But for me, I really see the two worlds marrying all the time.
Mhm.
The fine dining, culinary world and health are fused for me. So I wanted to create a product that would be really easy for any home chef to use, that would add flavor and function in every bite. And that's what Superfood Sprinkle is. It's a blend of 13 different superfoods that come together that help with hormone balance, help with metabolism, help with digestion, even help with things like asthma and inflammation. And the key ingredient is black cumin seed. And black cumin, different than regular cumin,
Mhm.
is as ancient as the pharaohs. They actually found it in the tomb of King Tut, and it has incredible medicinal benefits,
Mhm.
even shrinking cancer tumors. Lots of scientific papers that have validated those claims. So I added the black cumin seed to a variety of different functional mushrooms, turmeric, sesame seeds for good
Mhm.
fat. You've got black pepper, Himalayan pink salt, and a number of other things. Um, Nutritional yeast, which
Yeah.
is a great source of B vitamins, really good for plant-based people that don't eat meat.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yep.
And there's a hot, so it's called hot stuff. And then the chef's kiss, which is the original. That's the one with a
Okay.
kiss on top.
Okay.
And then we have two more flavors coming out in the fall. So the idea behind this is you can cook with it. So while you're cooking, it's just like your one and done all-purpose seasoning. But then you can also sprinkle it over the top, like when you go out to eat at a nice restaurant
Yeah.
and you'll see like the little sesame seeds on top, or you'll
Right,
see
right.
like a nice finishing spice. That's the idea behind it, that you can visually see it. It looks pretty as a finishing on your plate.
So you don't even know me, and this is like the perfect gift. And I'm
Oh,
not
cool.
just saying that because you're here,
Yeah.
because I know if I were to fib to you, you'd kick my butt. Um, this is outstanding, like right on brand for me. So I
Cool.
really appreciate you bringing
Yeah,
this.
awesome.
Have you ever been to Vibe Organic Kitchen?
Yeah.
Have you ever talked to Josh, the owner?
No.
Oh, you guys would have a great
Oh,
conversation.
cool.
It's probably my favorite restaurant.
Oh, cool.
One of, if not my most favorite.
Nice.
I would be curious. He would. I think he would absolutely love this.
Yeah,
Absolutely
yeah.
love
I mean, we haven't even tried to get it into retail because I
Yeah.
just want to keep it so that people can find it everywhere. So it's
Mhm.
on Amazon, it's on our website at mysuperfoodsprinkle.com with my personal
Yeah.
story. But there's another gift inside there
All right, let's take a
that
look.
you need to
Need to have you
use.
here more often.
Yeah, you need to use the gold spoon.
Okay,
So
tell me about it.
the gold spoon is, like King Tut, who liked his gold.
Yeah.
Everybody should eat from a gold spoon if you never had
Really?
a silver spoon.
Is that like? Tell me about that. What?
No,
Why?
you know how
Love it.
people will
Yeah,
say
yeah, yep,
like you weren't born with a silver spoon
yep.
in your mouth? Well, you've got a gold one now.
So, and that's why I was kind of forcing you to like describe me a little more.
Yeah.
I love this. Right.
Yeah.
This actually now has become my favorite out of these, and these are already up there. Right. The symbolism. There's a great book. Have you ever read the author Robert Cialdini, Influence and Persuasion?
I have not.
Absolutely outstanding. But in his book Persuasion, talks about that human beings are actually not active creatures. We are more reactive creatures. We are reacting to the stimuli around us. So building your environment to remind you of certain things, to get your mindset right. It's like you've
Yeah.
probably never gone to the gym and taken a nap because the environment
Yeah.
around you is like you're
Not
going
conducive. Yeah.
exactly. Versus if you've got some weights in the back garage there, like maybe I'll lift, maybe I won't.
Yeah.
This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Well, I love the symbolism of it
Yeah.
because not everybody was fortunate
Yeah.
to have everything gifted to them growing up in life. Many of us have had to struggle,
Yeah.
but everybody deserves a little luxury. And I think to have something nice that's affordable.
Yeah.
And it's just a reminder to me that everybody wears a crown.
Yeah.
You know, we're all royal in our
Yeah.
own respects. And so when you sprinkle it, you use the little spoon to sprinkle it
Oh, I will.
over your dish, and just kind of gives you a little lift in your step,
100%.
makes you straighten your shoulders out
Yeah.
and put your head up high.
That is beautiful.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for coming here. It's honestly an enormous honor that you take the time.
Oh, it's been
I've
so
learned
fun.
a ton. I love your energy. I love
Thank
the
you.
ambition. I love that you crushed your son on the leg press. Yeah.
I better not let him listen to this.
Yeah. What's his first and last name? Yeah. How can anybody who's interested find you?
chefmareya.com, on Instagram, on all socials, and then my website, chefmareya.com.
Love
It's
it.
kind of the easy address to remember.
Mareya, thank you so much. It's
Thank
been
you.
a pleasure.
Thank you, Wes. It's been great.
All right. Another one in the books. Thank you, Kyle. You're outstanding.
Oh, my goodness. You're so kind.
You might be one of the most intimidating people I've ever met.
No, don't say intimidating.
And I worked on Wall Street. No, that's a compliment.